If you remember anything from your high school biology, then you're probably familiar with Darwin's theory of evolution and natural selection. It's an organism's ability to adapt to its environment and change in order to survive. That's exactly what the coronavirus is doing. The virus is mutating and in some cases getting stronger. So, as humans, we're in a race with the virus, and the only way to keep up is through sequencing. San Diego's Illumina is the leader in that race.
We are at war with this virus.
I believe that we should be treating every case as if it's a variant.
By now, you've probably heard that new, stronger strains of COVID-19 have reached the United States. The UK variant is in over 30 states, with numerous cases in San Diego County. The South African variant was recently discovered on the East Coast, and now the Brazilian variant. But those are just the stronger, more contagious variants. There's probably more.
This virus mutates at a rate of about 1 to 2 bases per month.
Yes, as the virus grows around the globe and we have tens of millions of people who are infected, that virus mutates about twice a month. Sequencing the different strains, revealing the whole genome of the virus, is the only way to identify and fight them.
We've got to do good surveillance, namely do genomic sequencing surveillance so that we know when these mutations arise in our country.
It was Illumina's technology that sequenced what was then the unknown virus in Shanghai, China back in January of 2020. It took only 10 days from the time the first COVID case was reported to the World Health Organization to discover its genome, a remarkable feat. By comparison, it took almost 5 months to complete the same research on SARS in 2002.
And that's when, we were off to the races with respect to developing diagnostic tests so that we could understand who had infections and start working on vaccines.
But the problem is, as a nation, we have the technology, but we're not running the race fast enough. For example, the UK sequences about 10% of its cases, roughly 12,000 samples a week. But here in the United States, we only sequence 0.3% of positive cases, about 5,000 a week. You don't want to lose a race to a virus mutating into more contagious and in some cases deadlier strains.
If we sequenced more, would we find more variants?
There could be many other variants, and importantly, not only do you have to detect the variant, but you have to do enough sequencing over time so that you can make the observation if any variant that you identify is starting to increase relative to others.
In other words, sequencing not only gives researchers the knowledge of how to fight these stronger strains, but also where to shift our resources to focus on areas that need increased testing and vaccinations. And as Dr. Febo adds, we have to learn from this pandemic, because it won't be our last.
And certainly COVID-19 will motivate each country and us as a global community to increase our vigilance and increase our ability to detect earlier the next potential pandemic.
Part of President Biden's American Rescue Plan reserves $400 million for a coordinated plan to sequence and create a network to share research of COVID cases. Until then, Dr. Febo says it is important to note that as fewer people get infected with the virus, the less opportunity the virus has to mutate and grow stronger. So, until we have more vaccines and eventually booster shots to fight those stronger strains, we have to do our part to wear masks and socially distance.